Hello, guys. Still on the nervous coordination. We have actually spoken about the forebrain, which consists of the cerebrum being the main brain part. So here we are going to also look at the other subparts of the brain, which include the cerebellum and the lobes. Okay, the frontal lobe is actually divided into four main parts. Here we have the frontal lobe, the parental lobe, the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobe. Then the frontal lobe is responsible for decision making, planning, personality, and voluntary movement. Okay, and the parental lobe processes sensory information such as touch, temperature, pain, and the spatial awareness. Okay, and the third one is the parental lobe. The parental lobe is responsible for processing auditory information. Anytime you hear anything like auditory information, we are talking about hearing. Okay, hearing. For instance, the air move with a distance of 330 meters per second. So as it hits the tympanic membrane together with the three small bones that form the semicircular canal called the incus, the hammer, and the steps. Okay, the vibration will reach to the cochlea, and the cochlea will have a nerve we call the vestibular cochleate. The vestibular cochleate will now report it to the brain, and the part of the brain it will report it is the parietal lobe. Okay, so the that's sorry temporal lobe. So that temporal lobe will now give you the exact response from your ear. All right, so that is why the temporal lobe is responsible for processing auditory information, what to hear. Then the brain will tell you what it's all about, and also the language comprehension. All right, the language comprehension also have another part of the brain that assists this. We call it the 1x area. The 1x area is actually the part of the brain that is responsible for both speaking and written language. Okay, and we also have the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe is responsible for processing visual information. By visual information, we are talking about what you can see. Okay, so the occipital lobe also work together with the optic lobe. The optic lobe is also responsible for visual information. Okay, so the other thing you need to understand about nervous coordination is not one brain, no brain is responsible for a distinctive function. They work in accord to make sure that anything you are saying is confirmed and also it is accurate. They work with precision. All right. Then let us also go into the key structure of dicephalon and the limbic system. Remember that we spoke about the limbic system. I told you that it was emotional brain yesterday. So let us go into other parts of the brain that also assist in this limbic system, because the limbic system is actually divided into the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, the amygdala, and also the corpus callosum. Okay, so let us take one after the other. Then the thalamus. The thalamus is a central relay station that transmits sensory information to the cortex. Okay, meaning that they serve as a relay part of the brain. Alright, so if the brain area is wanted to release an information or transmit information, the thalamus will be as a kind of relay neutron or intermediate body. Okay. So the hypothalamus regulates hemostasis, and also the hypothalamus is actually the part of the brain that balance, okay, between the hormonal system and the nervous system. Okay, yeah, the thalamus perform a very important function in hemostasis, and also it controls body temperature, hunger, thirst, and sleep, and also it controls the pituitary gland. Okay, the pituitary gland is actually the skin-like projection that is found in the brain. Okay, then the hippocampus, I spoke about it yesterday. I told us that the hippocampus is responsible for brain memory. Anything you can remember, anything you can relate with, as far as it is actually in the hippocampus, you don't need to remember it more and more again, because any information that is actually in the hippocampus, you can remember it at any given time. You don't actually need stress to remember them. Then we have the amygdala. The amygdala is actually the part of the limbic system that is responsible for emotional processing, particularly fear and threat detection. Okay, and we have the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum is a thick bond of nerve, okay, nerve fiber connecting the right and the left cerebral hemisphere. Okay, so I want us to also know that the brain is divided into two hemispheres, the left and the right hemisphere. The left hemisphere, okay, is responsible for what is happening in the right part of your body, while the right hemisphere is responsible for what is happening in the left part of your body. So do follow me if you're not actually following me before share it with your friends who will be interested to learn, and I will be reading your comment. Maybe if you have something to say. See you in the next video.